Good evening and welcome to Big Future Live. This is our first event of the fall season, and tonight we're talking all about your career and college planning checklist. So sit back and get those questions ready.
Everybody starts somewhere, and life after high school is your first step to what comes next. So while everyone's future may look different, and there are tons of options to choose from, just remember it's getting started that matters. And Big Future is here to help you take the first step. You can check out careers you're interested in, find colleges based on what's important to you, and even discover ways to pay for it all. So when you're ready to get started, Big Future has the information you need to make the right decision for you. Because when life feels uncertain, your future doesn't have to. Let's begin exploring. Your future, your way.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Rafal. I use he and him pronouns, and I work here on the Big Future team. I'll be your host for this evening, and I'm so excited to welcome you to our first Big Future Live event of the fall season. Start here, your planning checklist. First off, before we get started, I just want to thank all of you so much for joining us tonight. As we all know, it's back to school season, so I know you've got to be busy, but we're glad that you decided to spend your time here with us on the Big Future team. For those of you who don't know about Big Future Live is a series of virtual community events where you can connect with college reps, career experts, and your peers as well to help you plan for life after high school. Big Future Live was created so that you can get your questions answered to plan your future your way. So tonight, you're not going to sit through a long webinar. You're not going to sit through a whole bunch of PowerPoint presentations or slides. This is a virtual community powered by students like you, parents like you, families like you, and of course, your questions. And today's extra special because we're joined by two expert school counselors and a current college student who are all ready to answer your questions about how to stay organized, how to start planning, and how to use a college and career planning checklist. We only have 45 minutes tonight. It's going to go by really quickly, and I can already see we have a ton of folks with us, which means we're going to have a ton of questions to get through. So let's get right into it and meet our guests for today. All right, so I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves and tell us three things: your name, what you do or where you go to school, and then in one sentence, what brought you to today's discussion. And I'm going to start with Stacy.
Great. Thank you, Greg, and welcome everybody. We're so glad that you are here. My name is Stacy Fani. I'm a director on College Board's Counselor Community Engagement Team. I'm a former high school counselor of 20 plus years. And what brings me here tonight is I am excited to show you what the checklists look like on the Big Future site.
And we're excited to see it, Stacy. Thanks so much for being here. Tamika, I'll pass it to you.
Good evening. My name is Tamika Parker. I am a high school counselor. I've been a high school counselor for over 16 years. And what brings me here tonight is that I discuss these topics daily with my students, and I want to share it with others.
And we're so happy you're here, Tamika. Thanks for sharing your expertise and insight. And last but certainly not least, Anne.
Hi, I'm Anne. I'm currently a college senior at the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm studying electrical and computer engineering. And what brings me here tonight is I'm really excited to talk about my experience with college and just how you can plan for it better.
Thanks so much, Anne. So we have a lot of experts here, folks who have been doing this for years and decades, really. And then we have someone who's going through it just recently who can really tell you all about the advice from a student's perspective too. So thank you all for being here. Can't wait to get to those questions. Now, tonight is all about questions from students, parents, caring adults. But before we get to those questions, we want to know a little bit about you. So tell us, what grade are you in? And if you're a parent or a family member, what grade is your student in. So you're going to see a quick poll pop up on your screen. Tell us what grade you're in, or if you're a family member or caring adult, tell us what grade your student is in. And while you're answering that quick poll, just a couple of housekeeping items that I want to make everyone aware of. First off, there is an ask a question box at the bottom of your screen, right about here, where you can type in your questions. So don't be shy. We're going to get to as many questions as possible. And if you miss anything during tonight's event, you have to walk away from your computer or from your phone for a second. Don't worry at all. The recording is going to be available later at bigfuture.org/live. Well, we're starting to see some responses coming in. So let's see what grade y'all are in. Okay, so I'm seeing about 37% of you are in 11th grade. About 36% of you are in 12th grade. So the majority of our audience are juniors and seniors, but we also have some folks who are even in middle school, 9th grade and 10th grade. Well, welcome to all of you. No matter what grade you're in, we promise you this is going to be helpful, and we promise to answer some of your questions tonight. To get us started tonight, I'm actually going to pass it to the awesome Stacy, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the planning checklists on Big Future, why they're important, and how you actually use them. So over to you, Stacy.
Great. Thank you, Greg. So I want to start just by sort of giving you an idea of why we created the checklist for you. So we know that this whole process of navigating high school and figuring out what you're going to do after high school, college and career planning, all of that can be complicated. It can feel overwhelming. And we've heard from parents and students alike that you want something, some tools, some guidance along the way to help you navigate that journey. And so we listened. And so we have the checklist that we're excited to share with you today. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how to utilize them. All right, and you should be seeing my screen pop up, and you should see it now. So here you see the Big Future website. You just go to bigfuture.org, and over here to the right of your screen, you'll see a tab that says My Big Future. So you'll just click on that, and you scroll down to about the third one, and it says My Checklist. So you want to click on that. You can see up here in the upper right-hand corner that I'm actually signed in as Stacy Student. I do want to point out that you can use our checklists whether or not you are signed in. However, if you want to save your work and track your progress, it will be important for you to sign in, so you can do so. But just want to make sure that you know that if you're not signed in, you can still utilize these checklists. So when you get into our checklist, you'll see that we have checklists for every grade level. So for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. And you can also see here that they are sorted by semester. So I just real quickly want to show you a couple of the ones. I'm not going to go through them all because we want to make sure we have time for your questions, but just show you a little bit of what it looks like for each grade level. So I'm going to point out some of my favorites. So for 9th grade, one of my top favorites is taking the career quiz. Big Future has a fantastic career quiz. It'll take you less than 10 minutes. It'll ask you some questions on what you like to do, how you like to use your time, and then it'll give you a list of 30 potential careers for you to begin your career exploration journey. I also really think this one is important, calculating your GPA. Sometimes we think that, not really paying attention to the GPA until your 11th or 12th grade, but no, 9th grade is where it begins. You want to start strong so you can end strong, because one thing we know about GPAs, they tend to plummet if you're not doing well, but they're really hard to build up. So if you start strong, you'll be able to finish strong. So those are my favorites for 9th grade. For my 10th graders, some of the ones I really like coming up, hopefully you all are taking the PSAT NMSQT next month. but you will get your scores back. So this is on our checklist because it's important to not just review your score, but also look and see what your strengths and areas of improvement are, because it's more than just a score. Another one I really like for my 10th graders is decide what AP courses you want to take next year, right? So when you're sitting down with your school counselor, picking courses for your junior year, think about what AP courses will add that rigor to your transcript, because the college reps will be looking for that. For my 11th graders, this one right here at the top is one of my favorites, adding to your college list. So your junior year is when we really want you to become intentional about the colleges that you are putting on your list. So that is on that task list for juniors. Another one that's important for juniors, I think, is this one here. They're all important. Let me say that. They're all important. But connecting with colleges and scholarships through our student search service will make sure that you're getting information from colleges and scholarships that are looking for students like you. And then seniors, you might notice that the list is getting longer and longer, because as you become a senior, I'm sure my seniors are feeling this, there's stuff to do, which is also the point of having a checklist, so you can keep up with all the things to do. But for my seniors, strengthening your list is really important. That's where we want to make sure you have, a diverse list, safety, match, reach schools on your list, meeting with your school counselor. Everything on here is really critical. Exploring scholarships is on here because we know that paying for college is top of mind for parents and students. So those are some of the things that are on the task lists for our students. Now you might notice here, for all of our tasks, there's a button here that says view details. So if you're not quite sure what we mean by one of the tasks, you can click here and it will give you some detail about what it is we feel like you should be doing regarding that task. You can also, there's a button here for this one, plan college visits, where you will be able to, it'll take you to either an article or an action item to complete that task. And then when you are done, you are able to mark it complete. And here you can see, as a senior, I pretended I was a senior. I marked strengthen my college list as complete. I could mark visiting colleges complete, or if I need to go back and redo it, I can also unmark it. So you can see it's very user-friendly, easy to use, great way to track your progress from 9th to 12th grade. And so I think at this point, Greg, I'm going to kick it back over to you so we can get to the students' questions.
Thank you so much, Stacy. That was great. And when you're talking about 9th grade, you said start strong. What a strong start to tonight's Big Future Live event. Let's go to our first question, and that's actually going to be for you, Stacy. Rashesh wants to know, how do I access these checklists?
Very easy. Great question. So you go to the Big Future site, bigfuture.org. You're going to click on, I don't want to rely on my memory, My Big Future. And then under My Big Future, it says My Checklist. And so you just click there and the checklist will populate for you. Great question.
Perfect. Good question, Rajesh. And one more for you, Stacy. This is from Melissa. If you are, I'm sorry, this one's from Carla. What do you do if you haven't done the 9th grade tasks, but you're in 11th grade? Should you still do those tasks that are listed?
Absolutely. I think, consider these a guideline. There might be some things on the 9th grade list, like you said, that you haven't done and you're a junior. So yes, by all means, go back and do them, because everybody's journey is unique. And there might be some tasks that you completed in 9th grade that you want to redo as a 10th or an 11th grader or a 12th grader, because of course, along the way, you have grown and you have changed. So absolutely, it's fine to go back and do things that are in a different grade level than you are currently.
Thanks so much, Stacy, and thanks for the question, Carla. Melissa, you had a similar question. If you are in the 10th grade, can you complete the career quiz found under 9th grade? And I can take that one. Yes, absolutely. Whether you're in the ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, you can absolutely take that career quiz. Again, as Stacy said, the career quiz takes less than 10 minutes for you to complete. And once you complete it, you'll get a list of 30 potential careers that you can explore further on Big Future. Great question, Melissa. Let's get to some other questions. And this first one is for you, and it's from Colin. Colin wants to know, how was your college admissions process? And I'll add on to that. Did you have a checklist like this? And if you did or didn't, would something like this have helped you, Dan?
Yeah, okay. That's a very broad question. But first of all, I did not have a checklist. And I'm actually the first one in my family to go to university in the United States. So everything's brand new to me. And I really wish I had a checklist like this, because when I was navigating it, I was going to different friends trying to get their advice. And it was honestly a huge mess. So if I had a list, that would have been super helpful. And my other thing I want to say about college admission is that definitely try to apply to as many schools as possible, just so you know. And I think the lists are really going to help you like organize based and like really understand what you want to pursue in the future. So definitely check that out. And different schools have different strengths, and I would definitely do a very deep research into what school is good at like which area. And I think that will also really help you with like the whole admission process as well.
Thanks so much, Anne. That's so helpful to hear that a tool like this would have been helpful as you were going through the process. So I hope all of our students out there listen to that advice, use this. It'll help you stay organized through kind of let's be honest, a stressful and overwhelming process as navigating life after high school can be. Thanks for that, Anne, and thanks for the question, Colin. Tamika, this next one is for you. Dana wants to know, what do you do when you're so overwhelmed and you don't know where to start? That's a great question, Dana.
It is a great question. And Dana, I want you to know that you are not alone in feeling this way. A lot of students feel this way when they are doing college planning, whether it's their first time going to college or they're the first person in their family to attend college, or they're the 50th person. This is overwhelming in addition to all the coursework and other activities that you're involved in. So know that you're not alone, and knowing that, my first thing would be to just tell you to go back to the checklist that Stacy and Anne mentioned. That would be a great tool to get you started. But if you are truly overwhelmed and it's just a lot for you to take on, I would advise you to go and talk with your school counselor so that they can assist you and guide you, maybe assisting you with, taking baby steps with the process, because it could be a daunting task.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that question, Dana, and Tamika. Thanks for kind of easing the stress a little bit and giving that advice. Our next question is for Stacy. Stacy, this question is from Tara. Tara says, I'm in the middle of it all, completing scholarships, starting on college applications, keeping up with homework, organization, staying active. What should be my top priority right now?
Wow, that is such a great question. I wish it was an easy answer. I think the key to it is balance, because as a senior, you're going to have to do a little bit of all those things. It's not a situation where you can focus on one thing and then move to the other, excuse me, and then to the other. So I think what I would recommend is prioritizing those things that are most crucial. So it might be something that has a deadline coming up, or something that's going to require a lot of time where you've got to get started on it right now, and sort of mapping those things out. And it might also require you looking at your schedule and seeing which things are not so important, and some of those things you might have to set to the side for a little bit. But I would really say balancing all those things, because you have to look at them all at some point.
Thanks, Stacy. And Our next question is for Tamika. Tamika, this is from Tara. When it comes to deadlines, I feel hesitant on already completing college tasks because my senior year has just started. Should I hurry and apply for early decision or do regular decision instead?
Well, first, kudos to you for getting started and completing these tasks that you're going to be doing this year. I think it just all depends on what school you're really wanting to go to. So if let's just say, I'm just going to throw a school out there. Let's just say Harvard. Harvard is your top school. You've always wanted to go there. You have the GPA, you have all of the requirements to get in. It's your match school, meaning it's a school that is right on target with where you are with your test scores and GPA. Then why not apply early? But if you're really not sure, you may be thinking about possibly going to some other schools. You want to weigh your options, maybe look at some other things. If scholarships are presented to you, then I would do regular decision. Stacey, would you want to add on to that?
I agree 100% with what you said. I think that's great guidance.
Okay.
And Stacey, we have another question for you from Kim, another senior, who's asking, when should we start scholarships and applying for the FAFSA?
Scholarships right now. I recommend using our Big Future site. We have a great scholarship search tool. I think at this point we're at over 23,000, or it might be over 40,000. We have a lot of scholarships on our scholarship search tool. So I would start looking now because there are quite a few scholarships that have deadlines for first semester senior year. And then in terms of FAFSA for our seniors this year, that's going to open up December. Not sure of the date yet. There seems to be some fluctuation in terms of what the exact date will be, but it will be December 2023 when it opens up for seniors to do their FAFSA.
Thank you for that, Stacey. And our next question is for Tamika, and this is also a question related to seniors and 12th graders. Don't worry, folks, we'll get to other grades in a moment, but we have some 12th grade questions here. Tamika, this question is from Felicia. Felicia wants to know, should I apply, is it in the fall of high school is it in the fall of your senior year that I should start applying to schools? And is it more important to have volunteer experience or work history on your in your background? Or is there no difference between the two when it comes to getting accepted into an institution?
So let me make sure I'm answering all the questions. So yes, you apply the fall of your senior year. There are some students who may wait until the second semester of their senior year because of several reasons. That could be they're waiting to boost that GPA one more, get one more opportunity to get some grades in to show the college admissions reps. But fall of your senior year is the time to apply. And I'm going to say that, I tell my students, as far as work history, volunteer activities, I view them all the same. Every student has their own unique situation. So I wouldn't say that, because this student has to work or is working, that they are a better, well-rounded student versus someone who plays football. I do think that there should be something on your application outside of academics. So if you can try to get something in, whatever you can do.
And I'll add to that if I can, Greg. I agree with Tamika. And sometimes students feel like putting a job on their college application is not as good as, but you have to remember there are skills that you're getting from working. There's time management, there's leadership, there's working with people. So college admissions officers appreciate and recognize those skills that come with working a job. So just wanted to put a plug there for that.
Thanks, Stacey.
Sure.
Absolutely, Stacy. There's tons of value in that. And we have another question from Susan. Stacy, this one's for you. Susan wants to know about the SAT. When should you take it, and how often should you take it? How many times?
I'm going to start a little bit before the SAT if I can.
Great. Yeah, please.
If your school or your district offers one of the PSAT related assessments, so the PSAT NMSQT, which is coming up next month, or the PSAT 8-9 or the PSA 10, I would start there. Those will give you a baseline in terms of your college and career readiness. So that way, when it's time for you to take the SAT, you have done some work to improve those skills. In terms of when you should start taking the SAT, I always recommend it for my students to start taking it no later than the spring semester of your junior year. And if you're not happy with the scores, then again, early senior fall. So you get at least a couple of them in there. And I also want to say, I know we are in a test optional world. My guidance to students would be, a lot of students feel like, well, if the school is test optional, I'm not going to take the SAT. But schools are using SAT for more than just admission. Sometimes they're using it for course placement. Sometimes they're using it for scholarships. And so it's better to have a test score and not need it rather than have something you want to apply to, like a scholarship, and then you don't have an SAT score. So I think, starting your junior year, no later than second semester, again, senior fall, and take it just in case you need it.
Great advice, Stacy. Our next question is going to be from Carla, and this is for you, Tamika. And don't worry, we have more questions coming for you soon, so don't worry, sit tight. But Tamika, Carla wants to know, what techniques would you recommend to boost my GPA, and what do colleges look for more? What do colleges look more at students for when admitting them?
I get this question a lot as a counselor as far as how to boost your GPA from students who may not have had a great start or just want to, end with a bang. And really, there's no magic answer to that other than making good grades. So if you are, maybe at a 2.0, 2.5, then, your goal is to try not to get a C. You want to try to get A's and B's to make sure that you're, boosting the GPA. So it's really, to be honest, just making good grades. Stacy kind of mentioned in her last answer about what colleges are looking at. Typically, it's the GPA and the test score, but because sometimes some colleges are test optional, GPA is going to be very important. But I would still add making sure that you are a well-rounded student. So that is working, that is, having your activities, clubs, and organizations as well.
Can I add a little bit?
Of course.
That's a great answer. But also realize that if you are that student where, 9th grade or 10th grade, you might not have been that serious, or, you might have had something going on. So that's reflected in your grades. If you start improving, like what Tamika is saying, colleges will see that improvement. So even if you don't start with the highest GPA, but your progress through each grade level shows improvement, that is also notable, and your admissions officers will see that improvement.
That's great advice, both Stacy and Tamika. Admissions counselors are going to see that progress throughout your transcript. Stacy, we have another question for you. This is from Ella. Ella wants to know, is it necessary to have AP classes when applying to college?
That's a great question, Ella. That one's a little tricky because some schools will have a lot of AP classes, some won't have any, some might only have a few. So it's important that a couple of things. One, if your school offers AP courses, that yes, you take AP courses, I recommend in areas where you're strong, because you want you still want to maintain your good grade point average. So I wouldn't recommend taking an AP course in an area where you feel weak, because then you're not going to get good grades. So it's a balance thing, right? You want to take rigorous courses like AP in areas where you're strong so you can show that strength and still maintain your GPA.
It's a great answer, Stacy. Appreciate it.
Sure.
So we've been getting a lot of these questions that are for our pro counselors here, but Anne, let's turn it to you for a moment here. Mia wants to know, what do you suggest my junior student ask her counselor this year?
Yeah, okay. So actually, I didn't really have much of a conversation with my counselor, but that's actually one thing that I really regret, because I feel like I should have asked more about just in general what kind of AP classes will help me get ahead in my degree. Because in engineering, a lot of classes are very rigorous and you really do not have time to be taking a lot of I just feel like there's a lot of AP classes that could have taken that will help me get ahead and also make my life a lot easier right now. So that's one. And also tips on getting scholarships, where to look for scholarships, and just overall how to kind of find the kind of career that I want to pursue, because that I was very lost with that. And my high school offered a lot of elective options, but I did not know where to start looking, or just it felt really lost to me. So those are the three that I would really suggest you talking to your counselors about.
Those are great questions to get started. And I'll pass it to Mika and Stacy as well. What do you think Mia should have their junior student ask their counselor in the 11th grade?
I guess I'll start and then you can finish up, Stacy.
Sure.
I would say for the junior student to we'll talk to the counselor about what their college choices may be, and maybe what their major, what they plan their major to be. And they can start narrowing down that list of schools and, look at what the requirements are to get into that school, to ensure that they are, applying to a school that is matched with them. I would also say, again, as Anne said, scholarship opportunities, because you don't have to wait until your senior year to apply for scholarships. There are plenty of scholarships out there for younger students. So it's a good idea to get started, even start looking at the ones that they're going to be, that are going to be available for them next year. So they'll already know which ones that they're going to apply to. And then I'd even say, start, if they can, visit colleges, even if it's a virtual tour, asking their parents if they can take them on a college, tour, even if it's one of the local schools, so they can get a feel of what it's like to be on a college campus. So those are some of the things that I would mention to my juniors.
I say yes to all of that. The only other thing I think I would add is make sure you meet with your counselor your junior year and check that transcript. You want to make sure your transcript is correct. You want to make sure that if there are any errors or any questions you have about the transcript, graduation requirements, you just want to make sure going into your senior year, everything is lined up, all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted regarding your high school courses and your college planning. So that way your senior year is as stress-free as possible. But then everything else that Tamika said, I think all those are critical. Yep.
Awesome. Well, Mia, great question. I hope that was helpful as you're helping to guide your student along their path. Our next question is going to be for you, Anne, and this question is from Chloe. Chloe, I love this question. Chloe wants to know, did you always know what you wanted to do before entering college? And if so, who or what was your inspiration? And if not, tell us how you decided.
Yeah, okay. So funny story. I've always thought I would be a music major because I've been playing piano since I was 5 years old. So I thought that was the route I would go down. And then my parents have been trying to push me into trying different fields. So they introduced me to healthcare, like becoming a dentist and then like accountant. And then they're like, oh, CS sounds fun, because that's a very popular field right now. But I think all in all, it's just, so I tried out so many different fields. I've taken so many different classes in high school. It really came down to me on taking all the AP classes and understanding my strengths. So I realized that I was fairly strong in math and science. And though I wasn't like entirely sure if that's what I really want to pursue in the future, I kind of started with a very broad major. So I started out as a mechanical engineering major, and that is when I realized that's not exactly, like, I enjoy it, but I don't think that's what I want, like, for the long run. So then I did a lot of research into the kind of jobs that the major will be related to. So after that, I was like, I really like computers. I don't think like straight up like buildings and structures are for me. That's why I kind of didn't really want to do mechanical. And I started looking to like coding and like a little bit of hardware. And I'm like, okay, electrical is probably the perfect fit. So that's kind of how I shifted all the way from music all to electrical and computer engineering. So yeah, I think for everyone's going to be different, but I feel like just take classes, take all like different classes, as many different types of classes that you're interested in. And I feel like that will really help you narrow it down to what you actually like and what you want to do in the long run.
Thanks so much for that, Anne. It's so great to hear a little bit more about your path and all of your different interests and how you kind of made a decision on something. And one thing I just want to highlight for all of our students out there, we hear so often that students think you have to know exactly what you want to do as soon as you enter college, and that once you pick a major, like you're on that path forever. That's not the case. It may be the case, but you're allowed to change your major. You're allowed to explore and really figure out what you want to do along the way. So Anne, you're a really good example of that. So thanks for sharing. Our next question is from Beatrice. Beatrice asks, what suggestions do you have for a senior who does not have a specific area of interest or is undecided about their career path? It's a great question, Beatrice. And Stacy, Tamika, like I want to ask both of you to respond to that, so I will. But let's start with you, Stacy.
Greg, what you just said about not having to like stick to one major is sort of the same philosophy I have about Beatrice's question. You don't have to go in knowing all these things. As a matter of fact, it's very common to not know exactly. There's pressure, I think, that comes to students nowadays where they feel like they have to have these answers. But generally your first 2 years of college are your general classes anyway before you really get into your major. So you have time to do exactly what Anne suggested and explore different classes in high school and college, because college has their form of electives as well. So you have time to figure it out before setting foot on the college campus, and you have time to figure it out after you set foot on the college campus. So I would follow Anne's guidance and, take a lot of different classes, and then when you find that passion, like what Anne was talking about, you'll know. Tamika?
That was perfect, Stacy.
Awesome. Our next question is from Ospora. Ospora wants to know, or Ospora says, I'm completely new to scholarships and I really want to know how to get started, how to continuously apply with a busy life as a junior, where can I find resources, etc. And then Tayo also wants to know, does Big Future have scholarships for students? These are really great questions. I'm gonna see if I can take these. A really great place to start for scholarships is, well, Big Future. So Big Future has free resources to help all of you students explore careers, plan for college, and also pay for college. We have something called our scholarship directory, which has over 23,000 scholarships that you all can apply for. You can also get matched to scholarships. So if you use our scholarship search tool, you can just answer a few questions about yourself, what you're interested in, what your aspirations are, just about yourself a little bit. And you can get matched to a list of scholarships that you're eligible for and can apply to right now. So that's one. Also, we award scholarships to students every month. As students like you take steps on Big Future to do some of the things that we've been talking about on this call, build a college list, explore scholarships, strengthen your college list, take a career quiz. As you take these simple steps, you become eligible for our Big Future Scholarships program. You don't have to apply for it. There's no GPA requirement. There's no test you have to take. You become eligible just by taking those steps. And we award hundreds of $500 scholarships each month and two $40,000 scholarships each month. All you need to do is go to Big Future, log in, and take that action. And Tayo, you also asked, does Big Future have scholarships for students? I hope that helped you as well. We have one last question before we get to our very last question, and this is for Nayla. Nayla wants to know, where can I find the career quiz, and can I take the career quiz multiple times? Stacy, can I pass that one to you?
Of course you can, Greg. So when you go on the Big Future website, you're going to go to the category. It's split into three pillars that Greg was mentioning, right? The plan for college, pay for college, explore careers. So it's going to be under the explore careers pillar, and you'll see it. It'll say career quiz. And yes, you can absolutely take it multiple times, because like I was saying before, you're going to grow and change, your interests grow and change as you progress through high school. So I recommend that you take it more than once. Definitely a great idea.
Awesome. Thanks, Stacy, and thanks for the question, Nayla and Kaylin. I can't believe we're almost at time. It's really just flown by. I have one last question for each of you. So rapid fire, one last question. What's your number one tip for students to stay organized during this college and career planning process? So out of everything we talked about today, what's like your number one tip? Tamika, I'll start with you.
I will start by saying what we mentioned in the beginning is the checklist. The college planning checklist, even narrowing it down to things that you need to do each week, creating a checklist of daily things, weekly things, monthly things, so that you don't get overwhelmed and everything piles up at one time.
Great advice, Tamika. Stacy, what about you?
Tamika took my answer. I was going to say the checklist, but when you use the checklist, go back to them frequently to make sure that you are that you're on point in terms of your time frame for completing them. So that would be my answer as well.
Thanks, Stacy. We're doubling down on the checklist. Nothing wrong with that. Anne, close us out here.
I was also going to say the checklist. But I would say another thing is your counselor. I think they have very great resources as well, so definitely talk to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great advice, Anne. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank all of our special guests for joining us, Stacy, Tamika, Anne. Thank you all so much for answering so many questions and just sharing your insights. And of course, thank you to all of our students and caring adults in our audience. We really appreciate you being here today. We hope you learned something, and we love to hear how today's session went for you. So after this event closes in the next minute, you'll be automatically redirected to a feedback survey. Please complete it. It takes just a minute or two, and it helps us make Big Future Live even better. And if you had to log out for a moment, if you had missed anything during today's session, don't worry at all. You can go and find the recording at bigfuture.org/live. And be sure to check out our full calendar of events. You'll find events like our community nights, gaming week, and we even have a session about how to write a great college essay. So again, you can see all of that at bigfuture.org www.ccc.edu/live. Check it out. You don't want to miss it. Thanks everyone for joining again, and have a great night.